The Gillard government turned defence of its carbon tax into offence with an attack on the coalition's alternative plan to buy carbon credits on the international market. The government's released analysis showing that the coalition's plan would cost tens of billions of dollars more than the cost of the carbon tax. Here's more from our political correspondent Tom Eagledon.
The government's been accusing the coalition of running a fear campaign on the carbon tax. Now Julia Gillard's found a scare tactic of her own, targeting the coalition's alternative.
But the simple truth is the plan being advocated by the Leader of the Opposition will mean an additional impost on families of $720. It is simple maths.
The maths comes from an estimate released today that the coalition would need to buy an extra $20 billion in international carbon credits to hit abatement targets, on top of the $10 billion it would spend on direct action technologies.
So $30 billion has to be found from somewhere, and it will be found by putting an additional impost on Australian families.
The opposition's disputing the analysis, keeping up an increasingly personal attack on the Prime Minister.
Julia Gillard, nearly Gaddafi-like, saying, "My people love me, my people love me."
If Ms Gillard believes Australians want to pay higher electricity and higher petrol prices, she is as deluded as Colonel "My people love me" Gaddafi.
Some coalition colleagues were taken aback.
Look, Soph has her own special way of describing events, and I'll use my own terms.
Others say such comparisons are part of any vibrant democracy.
There's been colourful language used in this parliament ever since I've been here.
And indeed it has, like this attack on Bob Hawke when he was Prime Minister.
Family is like Charles Manson saying he's going to care for Sharon Tate.
Today, in the mountains of West Pakistan, Osama bin Laden is stroking his beard and celebrating the advent of Mark Latham.
The opposition leader's no stranger to a touch of colourful language himself, but he's laying down the law.
I've said to all my colleagues that it's very important that this debate be conducted in suitable terms.
You see this pattern with the opposition leader where he says, "Oh, it wasn't me." They might have gone a little bit too far, but in fact he's behind it.
And it's not just the politicians who are letting their tongues off the leash. Independent MP Tony Windsor's revealed he's been the subject of anonymous death threats over his support for the carbon tax.
Well, I haven't had death threats before, but I think there's a degree of orchestration going on. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yeah.
Greens leader Bob Brown is giving credence to the theory that the threats are part of an organised campaign.
I've been on the receiving end of that, including recently, and because of the debate about climate change and carbon tax.
Tony Windsor says the orchestrators could be responding to the opposition leader's recent call for a people's revolt against the carbon tax.
I think if they keep running that line, they may well have a self-fulfilling prophecy that they will incite people to do things that they wouldn't normally do.
The death threats have drawn inevitable comparisons with the recent shooting rampage in the US, which killed a federal judge and severely injured American Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords. But it's not all doom and gloom with the carbon tax debate, with one Liberal senator turning to the medium of dance to get her point across. First, she did the hokey pokey.
You do the hokey pokey and, ooh, you turn right around.
Then launched into the time warp.
And you bring your knees in tight, because the Prime Minister is going to have to do that, Mr Acting Deputy President.
Before her grand finale.
It's the pelvic thrust that's going to really drive the Australian people insane.
A truly bizarre day in politics, if ever there was one. Tom Eagledon, Lateline.